Well, welcome to the third part of Bible Studies for Life. They've divided it up into several parts this time, and today we're in session 1 of part 3. I don't know how confusing that is. It's week 8, I think, or something like that. Maybe week 9. I don't know. But anyway, we're in this John 15, and that's what matters, right? We're going to be in John 15 today, and for this study, it's the character trait we're talking about today is love. So John 15 is a great chapter about love and about our walking with God. Really, the whole book of John emphasizes that throughout. But today we're going to look at a specific set of verses in John 15, just a small piece, and want to dive in and just see a couple of the important things that come out of this passage. He says in verse 9 and 10, "As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love." Do you catch that phrase there that shows up 3 different times in these 2 verses? Remaining in his love. What does it mean to remain in God's love? What does that mean? And I think maybe one way to understand it would be stay. Stay in his love. Or abide. Take up residence, live there, walk in his love. Consistently throughout your life, be in the midst of, in the center of, focused on God's love. Not only living out his love, but understanding his love for you, understanding what that means and how that works itself out, not only in your attitude, but certainly in your actions and in your understanding of who you are and how you stand with God and where you are with God. That's really important if we're going to remain in his love. So he says, "As the Father has loved me, I have loved you. In the way the Father has loved Jesus," Jesus says, "I love you." That is, he keeps that same love. Well, that should be true of us all, right? In the way that he has loved us, we should love others, right? In the same way that the Father was the example of love for Jesus and the way that he loved us, that example should now be the way that we love other people. He says that how that works out in our lives is by keeping his commands. Now, just to catch the truth of this, the second half of verse 10 says, "I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love." The way that Jesus remained in the love of his Father, and that is lived out the love of his Father, was by doing what he'd command. And so in essence, in the first part of this, he's saying, if you keep my commands, you will remain in my love. He's saying, follow my example. Do the way that I did things. And this is not because he says, hey, if you do what I say, then I'll love you. That's not it at all. But by following his commands, we are doing what is best, because his way is best. If God's way is best, and if we do what he's commanded, then we'll be doing the best things, and in such a way, because he loves us, and his actions and his commands and all that are based in his love, then if we live out his commands, we are living in the midst of his love. He says, if you keep my commands, you will remain, you will forever live, be in residence in my love. And I think another way to understand this is that his love, how does his love show itself in our lives? Well, maybe the first way we think of is forgiveness. We remain in that forgiveness. It's in freedom. He sets us free. By his love, he sets us free in assurance, in a confident security that I know that I cannot ever lose my place with God. When I remain in his love, I am confident, I am secure. I know I'm there, and of course, in obedience, because God's way is always best. Now, the next verse, a couple of verses, 11 and 12, says, "I've told you these things so that my joy may be in you, and your joy may be complete. And this is my command, love one another as I have loved you." There's so many little things I wanted to point out to you real quick in here. And the first is that I've told you these things so that my joy may be in you. There is a joy from doing as the Father commands. When we do what God wants, there's a joy there. It's not burden. It's not overwhelming. There's joy in being obedient to God. And he says, I want your joy to be complete. If you'll do as I've done, you'll have my joy. My joy will be in you, and it will be complete or fulfilled or perfect. You do as he commands, your joy becomes perfect. It reaches total fulfillment. Wouldn't that be nice? To have full, complete, total joy. If you'll do what he says, keep his commands, you will have full and complete, total joy. Then he says, my command is that you love one another as I have loved you. And I always wanted to point out to you probably one of the shortest words in this verse, as I have loved you. That is, in the way that I have loved you. Love one another in the same way that I have loved you. Boy, how has Christ loved us? With sacrifice, right? Selflessly loved us, tirelessly loved us, humbly loved us. He gave up what he had to come and show us his love. And this is how we know his love, that while we were enemies, Christ died for us. This humble, tireless, selfless, sacrificial love, the love that is in truth. He doesn't love us in a way that somehow fools us into thinking something about ourselves. It's not the case. He loves us in truth. He loves us towards redemption. His love brings us towards redemption. That love, that patient love, is what draws us to him. He loves us toward restoration, toward being whole again, to be reconciled, to being made whole with him and whole within ourselves, to be who he created us to be. This is God's love. So when we love others, we should love them in that same way as he has loved us. Love others with sacrifice, sacrificially, tirelessly, humbly, selflessly, to bring redemption to them, to bring restoration, and sharing with them truth, but truth with the goal of bringing them back to wholeness. Well, there's a challenge for us, isn't it? And then this last part of this passage we're going to look at today, verse 13 and 14. It says, no one has greater love than this, to lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. You know, this is obviously a follow Christ example, right? He laid down his life for his friends. And then this last verse here that we look at, I just wanted to point out something about this. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I just want you to know that only Jesus can say that. I cannot say to my friends, hey, you're going to be my friends if you'll do what I tell you to. That doesn't work. I can't do that, right? You can't do that. If someone said to me, hey, I'll be your friend if you do everything I want you to. I say, well, I don't need your friendship that bad, right? But Jesus can say that because his commands, his will, his desires are best, perfect, not only for him, but for me and for everyone. They are the best, and they are built out of love. So he can say that you are my friends if you do what I command you. Follow my way. Live by my example. This is what it means to be a friend of him, and he offers to us that friendship. So we follow him. We do what he says. He has set for us the greatest example of what love is. He laid down his life for us, so we also ought to lay down our lives for others. Love one another as I have loved you, Jesus said. Boy, there's a great challenge, isn't it? Hey, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful to you. Thanks for being a part of what God's doing and following. Subscribe down there at the bottom. Click the button to subscribe to us on YouTube so you'll get a notice every time this shows up, every time our email comes. We'll see you next time.